Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is the Kpop Hag and I have a very important question for you. If you were asked right now, wherever you are, to list out every single item you have in your collection from memory, would you be able to do it? I'm talking every album, every photo card, every poster, every t-shirt, light stick, DVD, every single thing related to your K-pop collection. Would you be able to list it out on paper if you had to? If you were given the option to use any recent pictures or videos of your collection you had in your phone to help you make this list, would you have anything? I'm going to guess the answer to both of those questions was no. Even those of us who post our collections on social media often probably don't have a really recent video or picture of everything that we have. So if we had to write it down, there's probably a good chance we were going to miss some things. And that question is what got me to start tracking my collection in a spreadsheet. Why a spreadsheet? Well, I wanted everything to be in one centralized place. There are a lot of websites and apps that let you track bits and pieces of your collection, but there's no one-stop shop for everything. Yet. I have plans. They are grand plans, but they are still plans. But there are websites like Discogs that let you keep track of your entire album collection. There are other websites or apps like K-Collect that let you track your K-pop albums and your K-pop album photo cards and some POBs. But there's no place that lets you do all photo cards and albums and all of your merchandise places. I can't think of a single website that allows you to track merchandise like photo books and concerts, things like that. So, a spreadsheet for me was the way to go. Now, why do I think everyone should keep track of their collection in a spreadsheet? Because if something terrible happens, and we never want something terrible to happen, but so many people in the last few years have been affected by earthquakes or fires or just tornadoes, natural disasters completely outside of their control. And we feel for those people, we grieve for those people, but we don't think about what it actually takes to recover from those situations. So, earlier this year, some people very close to me personally lost their home in a fire, and insurance handed them a stack of papers and said, "We want you to write down every single thing you had. And once you get every single thing written down, here's some more things you need to do, but then we will come up with a sum of money to give you for all those things that you listed, but only for the things you listed." So that got me thinking about how much money is sitting in my office as a part of my collection, and just how much time and energy and money I've spent collecting everything. And I'm really bad at being able to remember what stuff I've bought, what stuff is still on the way, what stuff has arrived, what am I still waiting for. So this spreadsheet has really answered all of my problems. And because I've realized how important it is to have a list of all of the things that you have that you would want in case something happened, and how important it is to have that list before the bad thing happens, I wanted to share that with everyone. I've talked about this a lot on TikTok over the last 7 or 8 months, but it is finally to a point where I'm ready to share it with all of you, and there is a blank copy linked down below that you can download to use for your own collection. But with all that being said, we are almost 5 minutes in, so let's get started on the spreadsheet tour. So obviously this is the overview page. It is my one-stop shop. I can see all of my totals right here together. This grand total section right here actually links to my home inventory spreadsheet. It is the only thing on there right now, but I do have plans to start slowly working through the rest of my house now that my collection is to a point of just upkeep. Then in the album collection section, I can look very quickly at the total number of albums I have, as well as how many of those albums are still on the way to me. I can see how many albums I have by group, by release year, and also special albums that I have, so promos, signed, sealed, or vinyls. My photo card collections is set up pretty much the same way. I have my grand total, how many are on the way to me, totals by group, totals by member, and totals by type. The other merchandise section is not completely filled out yet. I've had the most trouble getting this section to work the way that I want to, so it's only probably about a quarter of the way filled out. But I can see the grand total, the number of items on the way, total number by group, and total number by type. I've also included a wish list page because I do share this with my boyfriend. This wish list page is where he can go to see what items I'm still missing. So I have my top 5 ranked in order of priority, just so he knows which ones are most important to me, aka which ones are the most expensive. But I've also included links for him as well as for myself, so that whenever I do have the extra money to buy something, I have a link directly to the item, and I'm not having to re-scour the internet for it. So the album, photo card, and merchandise pages are all just one giant list by type, but I've done it this way because it is the most functional. Last week I spent hours making it very aesthetic and making it look very pleasing, but all of the functionality was taken away. So I decided that functionality was way more important to me. So now everything is sortable by any of the columns you see at the top. I can keep track of what items are on the way, what artist collection an album is a part of, and then the secondary artist is where I've notated subunits or solo releases. We have the album title itself, the album version, how many copies, when it was released, the catalog number, which is the code-like number that is printed normally on the spine of albums. And then I have places to note if it is a promo, if it is signed, if it's sealed. For Japanese releases, do I still have the obi strip? Is it a vinyl? How many photo cards do I have for this particular album? How many tracks are on the album? Any additional notes, like if it is a CD-DVD combo, if it is signed, if it's personalized. Is it a reprint or a first press? Was it only available for a specific time frame or for sale at a specific event? Things like that. And also if I have ripped the files to my personal drive in FLAC format. So as I said, everything is just one giant list, but everything is sortable. So I could sort everything by artist, or by release date, which is how I normally keep it. And I can also put all of my promotional copies at the top, so I can very easily see which ones I have. Again, this kind of functionality was really, really important to me so that I can very quickly find things in my collection. Photo cards is pretty much the same setup. We have an on the way column. What group collection is it a part of? What photo card type? So is it an album or POB? Is it related to a concert, photo book, season's greetings, official fan clubs, things like that? I do also have an unofficial cards tracker. I've started making freebies for the Dreamcatcher Tour and Purple Kiss Tour, and because I am keeping a copy of those and they are a part of my collection, I wanted to be able to keep track of those as well. If it is a photo card related to an album, which album? Or if it is an event or merchandise item, let me sort real quick. What event or merchandise is it from? what version photo card is it, and which member is pictured. Now, for group and unit photo cards, I do not include which members are included. I only include solo member cards in this category. And also, if I have a full collection of something, instead of listing out each individual member, I have chosen to just notate the number of photo cards I have for that specific set. Just because I kind of wanted to condense this as much as possible, because I do collect OT7 Dreamcatcher for pretty much every merchandise or event they put out, so the list would get very long very quickly. There is another release date if you wanted to sort your photo cards by when they were released, as well as a notes section. So is it a first press photo card? Was it only available in a specific version of the album? Do I have it stored in somewhere outside of my binders? Things like that. And then the merchandise page. So again, this page is not completed. It gives me the biggest headache, but I think I have a plan for what I'm going to do. So originally, every item that was listed, even if it was a bundle that included multiple items, I said I had one of it, which obviously skewed the numbers really small. I've since decided that I will list the number of an item as the number of inclusions it came with. So the My Music Taste Dreamcatcher Tour photo book project had 12 items, not including photo cards. But I've noticed what this does is it now is skewing high the number of photo books that I have. So I think I actually am going to go back through and list every item in a bundle individually, just so I can better notate what types of items I have the most of. So do I have a lot of shirts? Do I have a lot of photo books? Do I have a lot of posters? Things like that. Also, for items that have multiple items, I have actually linked. Sorry, my dogs have decided to lose their minds. Hopefully that made it a little better, if you guys could even hear it. But yes, I've linked to the original page, which does have a list of all of the items that were included, and I probably will keep that aspect, but I do plan to actually list them all out individually. But again, we can sort things if they are on the way, what group it belongs to, what type of merchandise it is, which this is the current list, but it will be updated once I start listing items individually. We have release, which for me, release is anything physical that I have that stays with me. So light sticks, DVDs, photo books, season's greetings, those are physical items that the merchandise was specific to. Whereas events are things like fan meetings, concerts, and tours, because the event itself was the concert or the tour, and you don't have a physical memory of that. The merchandise is the only physical item that you get from it, which again, this might change. I may just combine the release and event part, and then kind of like photo cards, there would be a version or item description instead of these two separate columns. We then have the release year. Is it signed? How many of it do I have, and any additional notes. So for things like ISBN numbers, specific bundle types that I bought, if there were multiple, if anything was exclusively sold in a specific country or store, and also if something was signed by only a specific person. So for the Reason Makes tour, the VVIP tickets were signed by a random member, and I got Yuyeon's. And that kind of rotates back to, primarily I had this for insurance purposes. While this is a great tool for me for my collection, the primary function is if disaster strikes, if my house burns down, if my pipes burst and soak my shelves and my photo card binders, if our house is hit by a tornado, I have a detailed list that I can give to insurance to say, this is how much stuff that I've lost, this is how much it was worth. And because member pricing is a big thing in the K-pop community, I personally do not agree with it, but it is the reality of our situation. notating which member something is could be the difference between insurance justifying your $50 replacement cost versus saying, well, we can find it for $1, so we'll give it to you for $1. But if you are a Xi'an or Yuan collector, you know that their items are much more difficult to come by and usually much higher priced than Sua, Dami, Gaian, or Handong, at least in my experience. Again, I am not promoting member pricing, but the point of documenting your collection is more so for insurance purposes than just for fun and games. It can be fun, it does not have to be taxing, but I just always want everyone to be protected and prepared in case disaster strikes. I hope you're all doing well, and I will see you in the next video, which should be on the 1st if I'm thinking of the dates right. But I hope everyone's well. I will see you next time. I'll quit repeating myself, and I'll see you then.